I'm one of the sisters in the A&E here in Bradford. I've worked in the department since 2007 and I've been a sister in the department for the last 2 years nearly. We started in 2012 with Danny, who was a sister in the department at the time, a dementia team, because before that we'd had patients in obviously with dementia, but we'd not really looked at sort of the care and specifically around those patients with dementia, and we looked at ways that we could reduce stress of people visiting the department with dementia and their carers, because obviously they don't tend to come into accident and emergency until they've reached a crisis point most of the time. And we also looked at ways in which we could enhance the environment, and we actually bought the My Life units in 2013. Initially we just sort of put them in the central area. People had a little play about, we occasionally brought them out and we sort of engaged with patients. They were bought on a trial basis and we asked for feedback, and we sort of asked, did this help, was it good? People set them up, they had a little play around. A lot of people said that they've reduced stress, but we've and found that the music particularly was helped in the A&E, as it's so often busy and chaotic, particularly if they've got long waits and they're in cubicles. The games on the units will be used by carers, but we were sort of showing people what to do. They'd maybe have a little play and then leave the units. And we did find that it free up staff time, but we sort of used it as an ad hoc basis. We encountered quite a few problems with the sort of dementia team. We found that people weren't prioritising patients with dementia. There's so many other things going on in A&E. Why do they need to be seen quickly? Why do they need to be seen first? This probably still is a problem, but I think it's being recognised more as it's more on the agenda, that we need to be acknowledging these patients and that they have dementia. We need to be looking at ways of reducing the stress, and people are starting to get on board more. We found with the units that it's getting people to use the units and getting people to engage them. When I was on maternity leave, I think there were a couple of months when they came and they looked at the data and downloaded how much they used, and they'd not been used at all. No one had logged on for 2-3 months, and they just...
You're not allowed to go on maternity leave again.
No. And then there was the SD cards that have got all the data on the units. There were 2 of the units that they were missing. The SD cards have been taken out and stolen. But now we've started getting people to utilise the units a little bit more, and the data's come back that we've actually been using it a lot more, and on a couple of the months we've actually been topping the trust somehow. Throughout the time that we've been using the units, we found there have been some positives. We had a lady come in who had gallstones. She didn't have dementia. She had excruciating gallstone pain. She was in the cubicle and she said, "You've given me cocodamol, you've given me morphine, and all I've thought about is my pain. And then I've heard this music from across the cubicle in another cubicle, and it's been the music from my childhood, and that has distracted me more from the pain than any of the pain relief I've had before I came to hospital. Any of the pain relief I've had in hospital, that has helped more, and that should be available to everybody." We found that the units can calm agitation. We had a gentleman who had Lewy body dementia, and he'd been discharged. He was waiting for his transport home, but he was wandering up and down, and we sort of said, you know, what music would you like? And one of the healthcare assistants got the YouTube up on one of the units, and there was this song. He couldn't say very much, but he could say this song, and she found this song, this jazz song, and he just stopped, and you could see his whole persona changed, and he stopped being special, and we just put this song on repeat pretty much until his transport arrived. and this healthcare assistant just wept watching him because it was just wonderful to watch. We found that it enhanced the environment, helping both staff and patients and carers that come in, and before would be repeatedly asked, what are we waiting for? How long are we waiting? Why are we waiting? Do we have to stay? Can't we go home? We found that they have got a new engagement and a new topic of conversation. We've also found that we've opened up the use of the My Lives to not just patients with dementia, but other patients. The other night we had quite a horrific domestic violence case in, and this woman was with her 8-year-old son, and there was just her and a son, and obviously the partner was with the police, and she wanted to discuss with the doctor some things she didn't want her son to listen to. And we were incredibly busy, and I said, has anyone thought, because obviously he's not in the children's area with toys and stuff that he can engage in, has anyone thought about getting the My Life and just sitting him in the area and getting him to play a couple of games on it? Because he's 8, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, he's going to like playing computer games. And we got this child to sit, and he just played whack-a-mole, and he was playing these football games, while his mum could then talk to the doctor, talk to the police about this horrific domestic violence that she'd come to hospital with. I've put Elvis up because we've used the Elvis on the music quite a lot, and we had one of our AMPs who was new to being an AMP. He was with Danny actually, and with a lady with dementia with a hip fracture, and he was putting the first neck femur nerve block in to reduce her pain, and Danny got in the unit and they put on Elvis, and it helped Terry, the nurse practitioner, doing his first nerve block, and it helped the patient, and everybody got enjoyment out of listening to Elvis while this nerve block was put in, and it meant that this nerve block was able to be put in and she got the pain relief that she needed. We've learnt from other trusts. There was another conference that you went to, and they were using their units in resus to enhance the environment on a patient with stroke, and getting a stroke patient with dementia to have the care that she needed by putting music and reminiscence things on. And they were also using their units with mental health patients who were attending their departments following overdose, deliberate self-harm, to engage with that particular, often difficult patient group. And so that's when we decided in our department to extend the use of our units, not just to patients with dementia. Like I said, we started saying, well, you know, we'll prioritise those patients with dementia, but there are times when, you know, they don't particularly want, you say, oh, would you like to? No, I'm not interested. Or there are other patients in the department that would benefit from the units. We have a gentleman who comes in quite frequently, and he's got learning difficulties. He's in his 60s, and he was quite combative previously when he came in, and now we found out through introducing the units to all patients that this gentleman really likes music, and he can come in and have SATs of 90, and he can have a severe chest infection and pneumonia, but he will start dancing and really enjoying himself within A&E. If we put on the music for him, he loves to engage, and he sort of, people have said, this is a different man once you put the music on for him. And we've started to use our units in HDU and resus as well as central, and we've also started, we have a cubicle 20, which is where all the ambulance patients come in, and we've started using the units in there, which is also sometimes an overflow for patients waiting for Metcare to go home. So sometimes we'll have sort of 3-4 patients, and we'll just put on, they'll either put on the games or they'll put on the music for them while they're waiting, because they tend to be elderly patients waiting for the Metcare. That's it.
Well done, Lucy. Any questions?
It's not really a question, it's more a comment. I know that clearly Elvis has got a bit of a thing going on down in A&E here. But it does remind me of the very first job I had as a nurse on a dementia ward, and the ward manager told me to go out and get some music. and I came back with Elvis and Cole Porter and ended up having 4 ladies in their 70s, each with dementia, sat singing along to Don't Fence Me In. And it's hugely powerful, and I think we keep stumbling across this. I mean, it was some time ago when I was first qualified as a nurse. And for some reason we haven't been able to integrate these kind of moments of of epiphany in how powerful music is in putting people at ease and getting them comfortable and just building it into our day-to-day provision of care. So it's nice to hear that such a busy environment as A&E can still manage to squeeze it in.
I mean, there's 100 staff down there, and there's a couple of dementia champions, but you can miss those staff on a day-to-day basis. And it was proven when Lucy went on maternity leave that it did drop because she wasn't there to keep reminding people. And it's not that people don't want to do it; they just need that constant. My life, I'm going. And then once they've used it a few times and they get into it, I like it. So we're getting there, and it's getting better. I only had one of the consultants the other day say to me, "Danny, that My Life thing, we need to get used to it." And I said, "Do you tell people to use it?" "No, I don't." "Well, there you go then, Rob." So get back onto it. So it's about getting it's everybody's responsibility to get people to use it. So well done, Lucy. Thank you very much.